Hi. Remember 4 years ago how boring the early debates were among the Republican presidential candidates? You had guys that went on interminably and made no sense. People like Brownback and Gilmore, the governor of Virginia, and Tommy Thompson, governor of Wisconsin. I mean, it was just this field of candidates who basically said nothing. And what they all talked about was, I want to be the next Ronald Reagan. We need another Ronald Reagan. The guy's name was mentioned probably 50 times in the course of the debate. Last night's debate was a real change. This was a substantive discussion of 7 intelligent men and women who were really on top of their game. The worst of them was better than the average candidate back 4 years ago. It was really refreshing. So, what impact does it have on the race? Well, first, let me just share with you my really subjective impressions. And bear in mind, I'm very often wrong about this. I always take polls after I look at a debate so I can see what the people thought, but let me at least give you my impression. I thought the most charismatic was Bachmann. I thought that she had a capacity to just put the answer in one word or one phrase that was just terrific. Really, as a speechwriter, I value that, and you know nobody else wrote those lines. She obviously did. I thought that the most refreshing was Kane. I mean, this guy is from off the Washington, D.C. radar screen, and he comes in from the outside, making a lot of sense with a business background. Charismatic, interesting, refreshing. I thought the most intelligent and the most informed was Newt Gingrich. I mean, you just sit back and you take your hat off to him. His answer about NASA, saying if we privatized it, we would have 10 space stations up by now and we'd be halfway to Mars. His answers about the false choice of immigration. Don't deport 20 million people or give them citizenship. Take middle steps that make sense. I mean, he just knows so much. Who would I be most comfortable with emotionally as President of the United States? Romney. I'm worried about him on health care. I'm worried about him on a bunch of issues. But boy, you know, he looks like a president, talks like one, handles himself like one. And he's the kind of guy you really want to be as the contrast against Barack Obama in those debates. A big plus for him. For the first time, I actually agreed with Ron Paul on a lot of stuff. He knows a lot about economics. His stuff is really grounded in classical economic theory. And I thought it was really interesting. Now, I don't agree with him on the war on terror at all. And I thought Santorum or Pawlenty, one of them, really handed it to him when he gave that stupid position that we shouldn't try to kill al-Qaeda in Yemen. I mean, the problem with Ron Paul is he's so consistent that he ends up being illogical in many cases. The two folks I was not impressed with were Santorum and Pawlenty. First, I couldn't tell them apart. And secondly, neither one really seemed to me to be in command or on top of his game. I thought Pawlenty next to Romney looked like a kid. I thought Santorum looked fairly dull. I just didn't get it. I didn't see it. And the guy I was least impressed with was Jon Huntsman, who didn't show up. I mean, for goodness sakes, if you're running for president of the United States, could you maybe show up at the first debate? This guy isn't at the debate. He's not going into the straw polls. He's not going into Iowa. He's not going into New Hampshire. He's the Rudy Giuliani of 2012. But to assess who won the debate and what strategic impact it was, you have to look at the internal debates that were going on. The first internal debate was Romney achieving frontrunner status. And I think he did. I think he looked like the sort of adult in the room. And he looked like the president. He talked like it. And I think he showed a stature that I thought was excellent. I thought he skated by on abortion with a strong position. Nobody challenged the flip-flops. And I thought on Obamacare, he was sensible. He made sense. Romneycare is a disaster, and he should admit that and move on. But I thought he handled that okay. I was satisfied with it. And he kept coming back to businessman and the economy. So I think Romney kept his frontrunner status. Then the next question was Gingrich against himself. Would these implosions continue, this campaign that just can't seem not to step on a landmine? Well, here I thought Newt Gingrich was absolutely fabulous. I mean, his specificity, his originality, his creativity. There were so many questions where there were 6 people saying essentially the same thing, and Gingrich was agreeing with the 6, but then taking it one step further with real specificity, innovative ideas, speaking about this program and that one and this bill and that bill. It was obvious that there is a restless, hungry mind there and would be wonderful to tap. Can he overcome his own terrible work habits? Can he get it right in terms of his campaigning? Can he keep a staff? Can he overcome his personal issues? I don't know, but oh man, what a debater. And then I thought that the next question is, who's the Tea Party candidate? You really have, in effect, Santorum, Pawlenty, Bachmann, and Kaine vying for that honor. I think you can take Pawlenty and Santorum and put them on the side. Just don't think they measure up. So it's Bachmann against Kaine. At the moment, I would give the edge to Bachmann. I thought that Kaine was terrific, but I thought Bachmann was terrificer. I thought that she really had a charisma and ability to relate to people that was just terrific. And then that gets to the next primary of Bachmann against Sarah Palin, because everybody was looking at Bachmann and thinking, is she another Palin? Well, she sure wasn't. You couldn't see through Bachmann. She was obviously substantive, knew what she was doing, had a wealth of experience in Congress to draw upon, knew the ins and outs of each of these issues and of government. This was no ingenue, and I think she did very, very well in that connection. So I think that on the whole, the field was excellent. The debate was excellent. I think that Bachmann and Kaine will both be helped. I think Romney will be helped. To the extent he can be helped, Gingrich will be helped. And I think Santorum and Pawlenty would be increasingly sidelined as a result. And Huntsman, forget about him. He didn't show up. Okay. Thanks very much. I hope you enjoyed the debate as much as I did.